Let's talk about mass shootings. Over the weekend there were 3 in America. Before I say anything else, just know that this video is not to attack any of our political leaders, and it's not to favor any policies on the left or the right. Right now, everyone is trying to point blame to politicians for these violent shootings. Elizabeth Warren even blamed Donald Trump in a tweet, despite the fact that one of the shooters was one of her supporters. Another of these shooters was a Trump supporter, who left behind a manifesto citing that his motive was the Hispanic invasion. This is rhetoric that Trump has said repeatedly. It's not just shootings either. People are running over their political opponents with cars or attacking them for wearing the wrong hat. This is what we have to understand. It is not the fault of these politicians, but they are not clear from responsibility. People listen to their leaders. That is a great power. And with great power comes great responsibility. Emotions are powerful. They create strong bonds between people and ideas. They allow people to be influenced and even controlled. Politicians often take on challenging positions on emotionally charged issues because they know it will gain the loyalty of followers. The media, which is largely driven by ratings, constantly seeks to exploit our emotions to increase viewership. We are constantly bombarded with emotional bait to guide our actions. These actions usually amount to paying our taxes, voting, and letting the politicians handle the rest. For some, this just isn't enough. Thinking with our emotions often leads to bad decisions, especially for those who are taking matters into their own hands. They will commit terrible acts of violence, not directly prompted by the leaders they follow, but fueled by emotions that those leaders triggered. I often discuss very emotional issues, and some of my supporters have suggested they want to engage in acts of violence to achieve our goals. I know emotions can run high over these very sensitive issues, and so, as their leader, I tell them not to engage in violence. Sometimes they'll try to justify it and point out that the people they want to commit violence against are actually the criminals. And I might even agree with them. But I tell them there has to be another way because I don't want a civil war. Even if they downplay these suggestions as a joke, I still take them seriously. I'm calling on Donald Trump, Elizabeth Warren, and every other politician to do the same. We cannot be held liable for the acts of our followers if we did not instruct them to commit acts of violence. But we have a responsibility to let them know that we do not support those acts of violence. If they look up to us, they will listen. We need to stop saying hateful things to our political opponents, knowing they will incite emotional reactions. While I absolutely believe in our right to free speech and the right to say those things, leaders should be held to a higher standard and set an example for others. If, as Trump says, hatred does not belong in this country, we need to stop inciting hatred against others. It's time our leaders started taking responsibility with their influential powers and their own followers. United we stand, divided we fall.